Good morning. Hi, Wonder Woman. Hi, Tina. Hi, Joe. I'm a little bit early, so I'm going to give it a couple of minutes to let people get in here. So tell me, you guys that are on here already, what did you think of Little Man's gift to Maisie for her birthday on the 26th? For those of you that saw it. No music this morning. Sorry. Hi, Sock. How are you? For those of you that didn't see Little Man's song to Maisie for her birthday, it's on my channel. It's the last upload if you would like to see it. I'm a little hoarse this morning, so forgive me for that. Thank you, Joe. He's quite talented, huh? So I'm just waiting a couple of minutes to give everybody a chance to kind of get in here. I started the live stream just a little bit early, so just so that you guys know, you probably saw it in the title. Today's video is going to be about, or today's stream is going to be about what's happening to our rights because of the different conspiracy theories that are going on social media, and how amped up they're getting is making it to where it's almost impossible for rights to be taken away because of a lot of these false theories. And as a result of those false theories, we're seeing more and more things that are changing in legislature at a local level even. So I'm going to be going over some of that today. And there's a couple of mystery gifts that I'm going to be providing today out to people. So that's going to be our drawing today. So I'm going to do two today. So let's see. Wonder Woman says, I'm watching you on my 58-inch Samsung Smart TV in my living room and chatting with you here on my elderly laptop. Oh, and you're having OJ and your secret squirrel and Morocco mole. Oh my goodness. Well, you are ready, aren't you? No gift card for Adam and Eve, Joe. Unfortunately, I don't. Those are not easy to come by. No, these are mystery gifts. They are gift cards, but I'm not telling you where they're from. These are just little mystery gifts that I thought would be fun to give away, and I knew I'd be able to do more than one in a live stream. So, hello, Mr. Swindle Hoodwinked. Good morning, good afternoon for you. Good morning for me. And I apologize. I promise you, I'm not sick. This is just allergies, but I'm a little hoarse this morning. So, if you hear me neighing over here, you'll know why. Okay, about 60 more seconds, and then I'm going to go ahead and start. There were quite a few people that were planning to be here this morning, so I hate to start before we get a few more people in here, but so, Mr. Swindle Hoodwinked, are you planning on having your weekend live stream this coming weekend? Oh no, Sock, your cable went down. What a time for that to happen. I'm glad your internet is still up though. No, I'm not. You know what? I think oats are fine for me, Joe. I think I'll pass on the hay. Okay, so just to kind of lead into this, I want to ask you guys, what do you think? What is your personal opinion on what the most dangerous conspiracy theory that's going on across social media? And I realize there's a lot to choose from. What do you think the most dangerous one actually is? What is your opinion on that? And we look at them all day long. We look at the anti-vaxxers, we look at the flat earthers, we look at the Moors, we look at the Sobsits. Um, there's all these different gates, gamer, whatever. It literally, it is that these conspiracy theories have touched all over the place. So I'm curious to know what you guys think in terms of what you think the most damaging one is. Oh, Mr. Swindle Hoodwink says he's still researching. Yeah. Well, you're doing good so far from what I saw. I agree, Sock. I think that one is really, really damaging. I think the illness is fake that's going on is really damaging. It's going to get a lot of people hurt. Okay. Oh, say hello to your wife for me, Joe. The data and the numbers on the illness stuff. Iron Maiden, I'm talking to you, by the way. I'm sorry I didn't address you. And good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Hi, Robin. Be happy to answer your question, but I just don't know specifically what you're referring to. And I have a 5-second delay on my end. So I've stayed up with it pretty good in terms of the actual numbers and rates. And it seems to be varying pretty heavily state to state and country to country. Regardless of and I don't have the stats in front of me, of course, because I wasn't prepared to answer that question, or I would have certainly done that. Well, okay, let me answer this question for you. In terms of how they're classifying infections, for example, there's a huge misunderstanding with regards to that. And here's what it is. And I'm going to spell some of this out because, we have a really difficult time with the algorithm on YouTube. So that would be why I'm spelling it out, not because I've lost my mind. I made a call to a virologist last week. I was getting really irritated with why I wasn't able to gather information, mainstream information, without going into having to actually contact a group of people that work with the WHO who classify. So when you go into a doctor's office and they fill out a form in order to do your lab work, for example, there's a code that goes with that, and that code carries from the point that the vial of blood or whatever the specimen happens to be to the lab, and then from the lab into a database that goes to the CDC and ultimately goes a few other places. In addition, goes back to your medical record and goes, after it goes back to your doctor's office, and then based on HIPAA regulations for that country, is placed in a database so that statistics can be done, not necessarily with your personal information on it, but just in general. And this code is what follows the specific things that they're testing for. So there's a different code for this and a different code for that. And I needed to find out why there was so much that was going around on the internet with the claims that they're only testing for the, we'll call it the Savasa illness and nothing more. Well, the misunderstanding is that the COVID-19 that most people assume is actually part of a strain, a separate strain. In reality, that is just the disease part of it. So I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. You have several different types of malignancies. Like, for example, when I had my surgery when I was diagnosed, I had 2 different forms of malignancies that showed up that was capsulized and wrapped around my carotid artery. When they removed that, and that sent it to pathology, it told them what 2 different malignancies it was. Now, those malignancies are called something very specific, and that's not what they use when they're speaking to a layman, for example. In layman's terms, they call it cancer, and cancer is cancer. Well, this is kind of the same type of idea here. And that's a major misunderstanding that they are not explaining to people. So when people come up and say, well, why isn't there a specific test for this specific thing? Well, what they're looking at are the antibodies, and it's the antibodies within that particular illness that tells them what form of the cerveza it is. And there are, in that specific form, okay, the proteins and the antibodies that are in there will tell them whether it's an SARS or an SARS2. Now, the disease that comes from it, which we call the COVID-19, all right, that comes from specifically the SARS-2. Does not come from 1, it comes from 2. So they're looking for specific proteins and antibodies in the testing. So the information that's going around is, well, it's all just the cerveza testing. They're not really testing for this whatever 19. Well, no, they wouldn't be, because the COVID-19 is just cancer. It's just the disease. It is not specifically what the antibodies or proteins are called. So how they're classifying these infections, I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to, but that is one thing that seems to be out there that people don't understand. Understandably, they wouldn't understand it because it's not being explained to anybody. It took a phone call to the group that works with the CDC and the WHO just to code these things in order for me to begin to get to the point where I finally got a hold of a virologist that could tell me that much. Now, if you can be more clear in terms of what you're saying, classify infections, for example, I'd be more than happy to let you know if I know anything about that. But this was the closest that I could get to what your question was. I'm, like I said, more than happy to look at anything that you want to ask or investigate it further. But that has been the most frustrating thing for me, because now there's these theories that are going around out that are inaccurate simply because they don't understand that the testing wouldn't be specifically for the disease. The disease is what comes from that specific strain. So like I said, I'll go back over the chat, and you're more than welcome to put any other information in there that you'd like for me to take a look at, or I may already know. Now, with regards to what I've got going on here for this morning for us, I'm concerned because there are some very strange things that are coming out of what's being spread around. And yes, I would agree that one of the scariest ones is the illness, the spreading of the conspiracy theories regarding the illness. However, there is something else to be concerned about with a lot of the other ones that are popular too. And one of those things happens to be your rights, which is ironically one of the things that a lot of the people that push these theories claim to be the most concerned about. So this is going to be, unfortunately, a little bit more like a podcast than it is anything else. Hi, Zaid. Good morning or afternoon, wherever you are. So basically what I'm going to do is just kind of go over some of the material that I'm concerned about, because I want it to be out there. I want for people to realize that there's more danger than just, oh, you're not being told the truth, or you're not researching it, all the way through, which is true. But it needs to be, I think, more in the forefront of someone's mind when they're watching a YouTube video, for example, because It isn't just an individual thing that's happening anymore. It's not just harming the person that chooses to believe the wrong theory and think that they can drive without a driver's license. Now, there are other things that are happening to the population because of the fact that there are so many people that have fallen into these rabbit holes. So I'll give you an example real quick of kind of what I'm talking about. We had in 2016 the start of people that were claiming that you had the secret account, so on and so forth. The secret government straw man account that they're hiding from you that has millions of dollars for each person. And you can get it if you just file the right paperwork through UCC. So many people ended up filing fake and false UCC statements that they had to start regulating the UCC. Now, that doesn't affect the everyday Joe, but it affects the everyday Joe that runs a business. And yes, it's something that needed to be regulated better so that people couldn't file false liens against people. But you wouldn't believe how much more expensive it's getting ready to get. And now what you have to go through in order to do it, when it's quite simply just something that should be obvious through a security agreement. A real security agreement, though. See, that's the problem. That's been ruined. So now it's affecting all small business, all large business, not just corporation, not just the people that these individuals in the first place claim to be against. It's affecting us. It's affecting those of us that are, just the everyday Joe running a tiny corner store or running, a small home business that is needing to use a UCC statement because they've lent out a small amount of money to, whomsoever with a piece of collateral that's not worth as much maybe as it's going to cost to get the attorney and everything else that needs to file all this documentation for you, or you need to go to court in order to get it done. We haven't gotten there quite yet, but it's quickly getting there. Legislation is changing. So a $24 filing is not going to be that anymore because too many people took advantage, or didn't bother, rather, to take advantage of the actual information of what this documentation is used for in real life because they chose to believe people like April or June. So that's just an example. Okay, Iron Maiden, I see your question. Isn't that only for antibody tests? When they test for flu, they test for antigens, not antibodies. They test for both. Because they need to find out whether or not you have an antibody that would be resistant to any of the strains, because they are also looking for individuals that are. So let me just try to answer this for you. If you look at the actual tests that are done for blood, there are actually two spots there where the blood has to go. One is a spot that tests for specific proteins and antigens. The other one is determining whether or not you have antibodies that match whatever they're testing for. Whether you have it and you're asymptomatic, or whether you don't have it but you've got antibodies that show up, antibodies are good for making a vaccine. So my understanding is that this particular test strip that I was discussing at the time with this particular doctor is one that is going out to the labs in order for them to be able to test for several things quickly. Then if you test positive as though you are asymptomatic or it hasn't hit you hard yet or any of that, but you test positive for that particular strain, which would be the SARS-2, then they move forward and they test nasal, or they test back of the throat. And then there's a third test, is my understanding, in addition. So again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just going by what I have been explained, which makes complete and total sense and actually follows protocol of previous epidemics that have happened with regards to rhino and all these other forms of this illness. Oh, well, it's not the same strain, obviously, but it's the same type of illness. So I hope that answers that for you. If not, that's the best I could do at the moment, but I can certainly look up more for you. Okay, so here's what I'm looking at going over before we get to the fun stuff. So one of the things that has upset me so badly over the last couple of days are things that I'm going to be showing to you as an example so that it's not me just sitting here talking through the whole thing. So I'm going to share my screen right now, and I want you to actually take a look at a video that it's very short. It's only 2 minutes long. That is currently up, and it's up for nurse practitioners and nurses. And I just want for you to be able to see this first so that you understand what I'm actually speaking of here. So let me get this shared. Share the audio here for you. Okay. All right, here we go.
It appears that our COVID patients are requiring mechanical ventilation for a period of several days to even weeks. Respiratory therapists are formally trained on how to use these devices and how to use them safely and effectively in order to breathe for the patients that are really struggling to breathe. And we're seeing just a lot of patients now that are really, really struggling to breathe. ARDS, or acute respiratory distress syndrome, where their lungs just don't work properly. And what we are finding is the problem is their oxygen level is very low. And so we use these devices to give them all the oxygen we can give them. But we also give them the pressures they need in order to help keep the lungs open and keep the little sacs inside the lungs open and clear as possible to make sure they can get the oxygen into their bloodstream.
Okay, so as you can see here, we have an instructional video, which is called How Ventilators Help Patients. Okay, it was done by Rush University Medical Center. And it's obviously, if you take a look here at the comments and everything else, there's a small amount of people who have actually viewed this, and it's very clearly an instructional video. But now I'm going to take you to another video and kind of show you what I'm talking about here in terms of how these conspiracies are getting started. And it's very obvious and goes right along with what Wonder Woman just said about how damaging this is. Now I've got to get you to the other one. You know I'm not good at this, so give me a minute. Okay, the name of this video is CORONA, mainstream media, caught red-handed using mannequin.
I'm going to show you the slam dunk. I'm going to prove to you 110% that they are staging things here. Okay. So again, this is from the same video. Now watch this. They're actually using a doll here. Here you go. That's a doll. That's clearly a doll. If you can't see that this is a doll, there's nothing I can do for you. You can see the hole in the throat here. You can see the arm joint here. You can see the hair, the fake eyebrow sort of thing, right? It's a doll. In fact, I took a photo here of it just to show you a bit of clearer sort of picture of it. I don't think there's anybody out there who can argue with a straight face that this is a real human being that they're showing in this. So YouTube community, they're showing dolls and they're showing these New York hospitals, Brooklyn and whatnot. And here we got a clear instance of a doll. So the first one, as I said, you can debate that. You cannot debate this. There's nobody on the planet that can debate this with a straight face and tell me this is actually a human being. So I'll play it here, and then I'm going to play the context of it. You see the rush here. And again, this is, of course, it's all, as you see, the title here, New York coronavirus cases surge, hospitals struggle to cope. So
That's a flat out lie. He knew damn well that this video had absolutely nothing to do with the actual comment that was being made on mainstream news with regards to the surge in patients in the hospitals. He knew specifically where that video came from. It didn't take me but 2 minutes to find it. So yes, it's a training dummy, and it was meant to be. And nobody ever said that it wasn't. It was a training video. But yet he chose to use this in order to further his agenda of conspiracy theory. This is just something that it's across so many platforms and so many subjects. And all of these theorists are so quick to jump at anyone exposing them and call them a government shill or what have you. But who's really throwing up the smoke and mirrors here? So let's just talk about how badly that this actually affects people, real people like you and me, people that are not in the know with the government, people that are just trying to live their lives and keep other people from being, damaged by nothing but BS. I've learned very recently, by the way, that apparently I don't only do this because I really hate people that scam. And I try to warn people about them. That's true, I do, but I don't only do this because of that. Apparently, I have a real serious allergy to bullshit. And I find myself, as this has continued, I'm about 4.5 years in. I've got just over 700 videos, every single one of them debunking some kind of bullshit out there. And I think I am reaching a level of full where I feel like I'm just going to start going after people now. And see, that's not like me. So to some extent, doing this, if you don't really, really keep yourself in check, and you're the type of person that truly believes in factual evidence or scientific evidence versus just some kind of faith in whoever you are watching at the time, or whatever you think is going to protect you out there, that's something you can't see or hear, like one of the Moors, for example, that tell you, oh, you're a Moor, you can't catch anything. I think if you don't keep yourself in check and you don't take small breaks, this can get overwhelming, can get really, really irritating to the point where you start to change yourself. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this particular live stream, because I am seriously at that point. One of the things that I did last weekend was start taking a look at why is it that so many people are completely and totally addicted to conspiracies, because that truly is at the bottom of all of these problems. Why is Winston Shroud in prison? Because of a conspiracy. Why is Anthony Williams in prison? Because of a conspiracy. Why is it that Heather Ann Tucci and Randall Keith Bean are in prison? Because of a conspiracy. Why is it that measles is back in an outbreak again? Because of a conspiracy. Why is it that people are, taking things that are making them go blind, like bleach? It's because of a conspiracy. And I realized it's not the actual conspiracy that matters. What matters is, why are people buying into these conspiracies? What's the fundamental reason behind why they are not doing any kind of a gut check before they just do whatever wild thing like drink bleach with that MMS crap? And the other thing that I realized was, why What is creating all of the fear porn that you hear going on with people? For example, Deborah Tavares. Why is she doing it? Why would you want to live that kind of existence where you're making everyone miserable and scared all the time? And it's not scary enough, things like having this crazy ass illness going around, right? That's not scary enough. We have to make it scarier because now it's some kind of crazy, plot. For what reason, no one can tell me. So you see, you can hear the irritation in my voice. So that's why I started doing this research. And I realized a few things that I don't know if everybody's thought of or not, but I think you need to if you haven't. The first thing is that it is obvious that, like I said, there are a ton of people that are addicted to conspiracy theories, and I do mean a ton. So the statistics currently say that over 70% of people believe in at least one conspiracy, at least one. And I am not talking about truthful conspiracies that have been proven to be truthful. I am talking about theories, most of them insane, okay? So whether it's, the reptilian conspiracy or the vaccine has, actual liquid mercury in it, which is not the kind of mercury that was ever in that particular vaccine. Or one of the other crazy ones, whatever it happens to be, everybody pretty much in that 70% believes in at least one, and most of them more than one. What's made us this way? So, with the research that I've done and contacting a psychologist that was able to inform me that the main reason is because people don't feel safe anymore. They don't feel safe anymore, and they don't know who is coming at them. So they just start figuring, well, if I can maybe listen to everyone who's blurting out these conspiracies, maybe I can start doing some research on it. I can figure out why I'm scared all the time. And see, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because you have conspiratorial talk constantly in your ear, and then you go from one to the next to the next to the next, which makes you even more fearful, which keeps you in that loop. All right, so the fact that we are a nation, at least I'm speaking of the United States, but we need to be talking about almost all countries, because let's face it, it's going on everywhere, should tell us something, that we are scared all the time, or at least 70% of us are. And the more scared or insecure you are, the more, apparently, according to what I was told, the more you become even more conspiratorial. Now we have well over half the platforms of social media that have people making these crazy claims. This person intentionally did it on the video that I just showed you. That was intentional, 100%. He knew exactly what he was doing. Why? Because we have 70% of people who are going to view that, and so he's going to make more money from it because they follow that line, that circle of conspiracies. Predators, psychological predators, have figured this out. That's why we have so much going on these social media platforms. They get donations from it. And if you look at it, and you got to wonder sometimes, wait a minute, I'm telling people the truth. I'm pointing them directly to the truth to keep them from getting hurt. And I get a lot of hate coming back at me because of that. Because once they're in that circle, they don't want to be out of that circle. That circle, for some reason, even though it's all false, makes them feel safer because that's what anger does to us. Anger replaces the fear, and then they feel empowered, and there you have it. That's the answer, in terms of why so many people are falling for these things. But then they complain at the same time that they're angry with the government. They're angry with the fact that because all these things, of course, come out once they replace that fear with anger. And the one thing that I hear constantly from people that call themselves quote unquote patriots is our rights are being taken away. Yeah, they are. You know why? Because a lot of these conspiracies are forcing rights to be taken away in order to keep the other side of the argument, which is saying you can't just let all of these children come to school with no vaccinations. There is an epidemic of measles going on right now because of that. You can't do that. We are not protected. Okay. Both arguments make sense initially until you look into the fact that the information that's been provided for the measles shot is totally false. Yes, there's an element of mercury in it, but it isn't the same kind of mercury that is poisonous to you in the manner that you're thinking. It's not like what's coming straight out of a thermometer. It isn't the same thing. It's a different type of mercury, but that's not explained. And then we have born an entire movement of anti-vaxxers. And now we have an epidemic of measles that had been gone for 50 years. All right, so the damages are not just there, all right? We have other damages. So let's talk about some of the people who have actually been seriously damaged, had their lives ruined or at least turned upside down due to these false accusations that sometimes they will turn on a particular individual. An entire group of angry, pissed off people who believe in a crazy conspiracy mad at one person. Can you imagine the fear that person would feel? So very recently, there was a program that came out on Marcel Fontaine, falsely accused of being the Parkland shooter. Yeah, scary. Really scary. Then we have Lenny Potzner, I believe his name was. He was targeted after he lost his child at the Sandy Hook-ish scenario that happened. I mean, it's not bad enough that he had to deal with the loss of that child. But now he's got hundreds and thousands of people that are commenting on his Facebook pages and his Instagram and everything else, screaming and yelling at him, calling him a government shill, threatening his life, all because of one man who started something but had over 2 million subscribers at the time. We have the doctor, Paul Offit, that's been nonstop harassed by the anti-vaccine activists. One person with 20 million people after him. So yes, rights are going to be taken away. I'll give you another example. You have these auditors, or as we call them in the watchdog community, the majority of them are called frauditors. They go out and they incite anger of police officers in order to get a rise so that they can get views, so that this way they're making a ton of money through donations and AdSense. It's not that anybody's really doing anything wrong to begin with until they start purposely pushing officers, security guards to basically defend their job. And then what happens? The post office and the courthouses and any place that is a public building, Social Security office, any place that's a public building that at one time you could walk in with your phone and you could film a sign or whatever. Not anymore. Not anymore. So how long is it going to take for First Amendment to change because these individuals have decided to go out and do this by the thousands? So now you can't go and film certain areas that you always could before because of what these auditors have done. Have they helped? No, they haven't helped. Not at all, not one little bit. Okay. So what I want to get at here, or what I want to actually just push out there for people to know, is that we have to actually take a look at what's happening with regards to these conspiracies, because they are getting our rights taken away. They're not helping. They're getting things taken away. My example of the UCCs and how now that's turned into a whole scenario that they're trying to change through legislation in each state because it's become necessary, because people keep going out there and believing that they can file false liens on police officers, judges, and lawyers. So that whole scenario is going to change, and it's going to make it much more difficult to protect your assets as a lender. The scenario with the First Amendment auditors that I just said, that's another example of how things are being taken away due to what people are doing. You know, people are more in danger of being pulled over just a simple traffic stop, excuse me, because of the SOBSIT's actions. Because cops never know if they're going to have a gun pulled on them the minute that they walk up to your window. It's giving the cops more power, not less. Giving them more power. And they have reason to be requesting that power. The anti-vax scenario. We have an epidemic of measles going on because of these individuals. That didn't help anything, did it? When they did all the testing, it had nothing to do with autism whatsoever. But what's happened? Now parents are being forced to vaccinate their children, because it isn't just one or two families that are of a specific religion that they don't believe in vaccinating their children. It's no longer a few families where it isn't that big of a problem. Now we've got 70% of people that don't want to vaccinate their kids over bogus information. That's removing rights. That's removing it, not helping. And to serve what? A bunch of kids getting measles? Because it sure didn't help autism. I can probably go on and on forever, but I'm not going to do that to you. The implausible plots and false alarms actually hurt us in two ways. Not only do they increase the level of fear that's going on out there, which we do not need, but they also waste time and resources that could be better spent fighting the real threats and increasing actual security. Real security without us losing our rights because we're doing it through the right channels. They're laughing at us. They're laughing at us that are watching these videos. And I say us as a collective humankind. These scammers, these predators are laughing at the rest of us, because 70% of the population right now is willing to believe some kind of craziness, and they stay in that cycle of anger, fear, and then anger, because at least then they're empowered. We need to address the real problem. And the real problem is everyone feels insecure. All of these individuals feel insecure to some extent. They're all looking for a solution. How do I help myself get out of debt? How do I make sure my kids are safe? How do I make sure that how did my child get autism? There must be an answer. There must be an answer. We feel collectively insecure. That's the problem. And if we want to go into addressing the reason behind why people like this man who did this video attempting to try to mislead people on purpose, why are they doing it? Now let's think about that real hard for a second. Not only do they increase the level of fear, which keeps the people that are watching it in the cycle, but they also waste time and resources that could be better spent fighting the real threats. So it is a smoke and mirror show. It keeps you in the loop of watching, which keeps money in their pocket, keeps more AdSense coming their way, and the level of fear makes you not be able to rationalize. It keeps you in that cycle of looking more and more down the rabbit hole that leads to nothing but dirt. It's no different if a government does it. That's the purpose for them doing it. Like, for example, let's just talk about something that is truly a possibility of being a conspiracy. It's going on right now, and nobody even talks about it. I haven't found anything about it. This is not a political statement. This is truthfully what is factually going on right now. There is a plan for hog plants to take over the majority of the federal responsibility for food safety inspections. I mean, why not, right? It's not like we haven't seen safety problems arise from self-regulation, huh? So instead of there being regulated meat packing going on that is actually, watched over by what is supposed to be a group of individuals that are non-biased to the plants, we're just going to hand over to the meat industry itself that responsibility and not even bother to have a licensed veterinarian and a licensed inspector on site anymore at all. We're just going to hand it over to the hog plants to do. Meat safety is not important. It doesn't kill anybody, right? If you have rotten meat. So that's one for you. That's an example. That's a real conspiracy, but nobody's even talking about that. Keeping people off kilter by using other means to distract with a shiny object is literally how a conspiracy is done. So we truthfully need to pay closer attention, because if this continues the way it's going, we're getting ready for a whole different United States of America and many other countries, because it's starting to not matter what the real facts are anymore. It's starting not to matter what real conspiracies are actually held underneath the covers. All that matters is staying in that cycle of fear. Whether it's TDA accounts, whether it's vaccines, whether it's flat Earth, April Lejeune was on yesterday talking about how the reason why this illness is really going on is just to go after the Christians. Don't you know? So I'm going to get off of my soapbox now, and I'm going to show you something that I think you guys will all enjoy. Some of you will have already seen it. It went up on Van's channel this morning. But for those of you that haven't, I hope you enjoy it. I heard somebody say that I needed to give out wrenches. I had given out wrenches, but I guess there's nobody in here. What is, somebody tell me who the problem is? Let me know what the problem is, and if it's important enough, then I'll figure out how to get it done. But most of them, they're irrelevant anyway, so I just try to let them say what they're going to say and move on. Okay, Robin, why are they handing over meat safety? This administration decided to do that. I don't know the answer. Deregulation is one of the things that this administration ran on for election. I don't think anybody actually assumed that deregulation was going to include food safety. I think they thought that, it was being referred to as other things, not food safety, but I don't know. All right. Did somebody... Okay. I'm not actually seeing anybody that needs to be dealt with seriously right at the moment, so I'm going to go ahead and continue. I wanted to go ahead and show you guys this video. It's actually quite humorous, and hopefully we'll get get the seriousness of this off the table for just a moment. I have absolutely no idea who said it, but a ways back they quoted me on saying that I'm not a doctor. No, I'm not a doctor. Who I've spoken to are certified physicians and scientists, and that was the reason why I mentioned it in the first place. So if there's any question with regards to that, let me say it again. No, I am not a doctor. Okay. Here is the video that I wanted to show you of that went up on Van's channel, which is really just unbelievably funny. So give me 1 second here and I'll get it pulled up for you. Okay, here we go.
Hi, you've reached Jeff Robb, Regional Director for Manitoba and Northern Saskatchewan. I'm unavailable to take your call right now. Please leave your name, number, and a quick little message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.
Record your message at the tone. After recording, you may hang up or press pound for more options.
Yes, hello, Jeff Robb. My name is Marcel of the family Bassett. I am Signatory Chief Justice to Peacemaker Society, peacemakersociety.org. We are a private law, competent law government. We're global. We're also a private law society, which outranks act and statutes. So basically, the reason I'm phoning is I went into Canada Post at 3:50 p.m. today. There was a lady working at the post office. I was in the process of sending some packages. I went to pay. She advised me that in the future I needed to pay with debit. I told her, no, I don't. I said, you can't refuse legal tender. She said, I'm not refusing it. She went to lecture me some more about it. COVID-19 is bullshit. David Icke in London Real proved it. So I don't appreciate being given suggestions on things that aren't even true. I run a global law firm. I know what the law is. She's not a lawyer. I don't appreciate being given legal advice by her, which is actually criminal to give legal advice when you're not a lawyer and not solicited. And you were, so I informed her I didn't want it. She informed me that she didn't like my attitude, telling her I didn't want her advice. So I gave her my card. At this point, I was very polite and punctual and all that. Then she decided she was going to call security and her manager. So I turned on my phone. The manager came. I explained to her. And then security came, started telling me to leave the store. I managed to get my change back and whatever. And then as I'm leaving, your security guard's threatening me with his uncle who's a cop and all this bullshit. You guys can't do that, hey? No corporation can give an order, Limitation of Power Corporations Act. And as I'm a sovereign with a fee schedule, your agents are liable $1 million per infraction, as are you for willful negligence, which is equal to fraud. Limitation of Powers Corporations Act, you can't give an order. This is all recorded. I'm putting this up public. I expect that woman fired. And the next time I go in there, I expect to be left alone to do what I need to do without being obstructed. It's not private. It's public because people are allowed to walk in. You don't need an appointment, and your security has no right to tell me to leave the store when I'm just trying to pay with cash. Okay, not to mention your pharmacy is completely liable for vaccines, but that's a call for another day. So within that, peacemakersociety.org, 204-698-2684. And the manager who is there, her name is Annette. I've noticed her, and she allowed all this to happen in the store. I want her fired, and I want the lady at Canada Post fired, or I'm billing each of you $1 million personally. $300, I can have a private investigator private investigator, get me your home addresses, and for $700 I can do a universal lien. All I have to do is bill you, lien 45 days later, and you're bankrupt. I'm a Chief Justice. I don't sue. I don't go to court. You've already committed a crime, and I'm already able to financially end your agents. But if you fire them, I won't lien any of you. That's my deal. This has all been recorded. It's going on YouTube along with your name and that as well. So please conduct yourself accordingly. A lot of people died for freedom. Act and statute is not law, and you are accountable to common law and natural law. And corporate rules are not law. So I suggest you inform your people not to act like it is. And when they come across someone who actually knows law, not to get them physically almost assaulted by having them thrown out of a store. No one actually touched me, but it came pretty freaking close. And I don't like being intimidated when I'm trying to pay your store cash to do some business. And within that, just so you guys know, I'm not a business. I'm an unincorporated association. We're recognized by the Law Courts, Volunteer Manitoba, Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce, all levels of the legal system, Judge Corin, you name it. So you guys really fucked the wrong one. If they're not fired, it'll be your ass too. Peacefully, lawfully, and this is going online in about 5 minutes. If you want to call me back and leave me a voicemail, happy to hear what you have to say. That will be played to the public as well. And if no action is taken, then I'm going to bill you and bankrupt you. $1 million per infraction, and I can go after every time your pharmacy or anyone in your company interacts with the public in any way where they don't disclose limitation of powers in their status as a corporation. So I'm very revolted. Rob, I hope you're a good guy. I hope you actually care about corporate standards and doing things right, because if you don't, it's going to cost you a lot. And if you do, you won't hear from me again. So I hope Annette and the woman working Canada Post in the instant who Annette knows who it is are fired, because if I see them in there again, you're all getting billed. Willful negligence is a crime. It's equal to fraud, and it's up to 14 years in prison and $1 million per infraction. That's our society fee schedule. We're not under act and statute. Educate your agents. And the next time I'm in that store, you guys better leave me alone. I'm recording every time I go in, and it's worth a lot of money to me if you guys don't listen. So I don't care if you do or not. I love getting paid. Have a great day. Thanks. And please instruct your agents. Don't give legal advice to people, and don't tell us what to do. You guys are there to provide a service. That's it. We don't need your advice, and you're not the law. And COVID-19 is bullshit. London Real, David Icke, they put up a show. It's banned. London Real TV. Check it out. Anyway, have a good day, bro. Thanks. And with any luck, I won't have to talk to you again. Wish you well. Thanks. Bye-bye.
So I'd like to thank Van for putting that up, because when I heard that, I knew I had to play it just so that more people heard it. And no, he doesn't stop for breath. And the first thing that came out of my spouse's mouth when I heard it this morning, because I try to watch Van's videos and DGen's videos right when they first come up, was, what drug is that person on? What drug does that to a person? Because that was insane. Very funny. Okay, somebody explain to me, besides the party that I just blocked, which you probably all saw, who's arguing with Liz right now? Because this is my live stream, so I'd rather you argue with me. Liz is on live streams because she's my comedy usually, and it seems that someone is really irritating her, and I'd like to know who it is. Liz, who is it? Because they're not going to speak up, apparently. This is why I don't automatically block trolls, you guys, because I'd rather them go ahead and speak to me directly. Let's just get it over with. But amazingly enough, even in the comments section, after I get through answering their comment, generally they never come back. So I have no problem with debating with anyone, because I don't put out false information. So okay. Too cowardly to say anything. All right, we'll leave it there then. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to the fun part of this stream. I said this was going to be a shorter stream, and guess what? It's been an hour. So my soapbox went on longer than I anticipated. I had to get that off my chest, though, because being in this position can be very irritating at times. And if I don't talk about it, and I don't do anything, after a while, I start questioning, am I really making any kind of a difference at all? Other than the fact that I've met some really wonderful people and I really love all of you, and I wouldn't leave because of that. But am I really doing what I set out to do? So, Dizzy Shizzy, will you debate people in voice, or do you only debate people in chat? What a ridiculous question. Either way, it depends on what's going on at the time. If they're commenting on my channel, I'm going to comment back. If they're commenting on my live stream, I'm going to comment back live. Regardless, you'll get an answer. Depending on how it's presented. Okay, so you guys, I have 2 mystery gift cards that I'm going to be giving out today. Here are the rules with the gift cards. These are live gift cards. These are not e-cards. So these have to be mailed. I only have 2, and I'm not going to tell anybody what these cards are for. They are gift cards, though. They'll come first class mail. They have to be mailed out, which is becoming increasingly more difficult with the lockdown. Matter of fact, I was late sending out roll-ins last week, which had not happened to me. But Wonder Woman is on here, and she can vouch for me that they always get mailed out, and you always get what's promised. But I'm not going to tell you where these cards come from or the amounts this time, because I want it to be a surprise. So I'm going to need addresses sent to my email for those that win. So if you don't want to join in because you don't want to give out your address, I certainly understand that. But that's the only way I can get them to you. So don't join in the event that you are not wanting to give out the address. That's all. Also, let's see. Hold on just one second here. What are you talking about, Dizzy? I never said anything about not letting somebody on the live stream to be able to chat. I haven't had that request. And stop inciting BS. Email me. If you want to be on a live stream to debate about something, then you need to talk to me about it so that we can set up a time to do it. VirgoTriad@protonmail.com. All right, everyone. So for those of you that would like to join in on this, then I need you to put a 1 so that I can write your name down and put it in the hat. Just keep in mind, though, that I will need a physical address to send these to. I want that to be upfront. Number 2, if you don't want to enter, so that this way I don't get anybody confused and I make sure that I can go back through and get everybody. So number 1, if you're going to enter. Number 2, if you're not going to enter. Please don't just leave it blank, because if you just leave it blank, then I'm not going to know what to do because I can see all of you on here. Okay, I'm going to give you guys about 60 seconds to do that. I will be on mute at that point. I need to go ahead and write all these names down. So I'll be right back. Okay. All right. Is everybody in? Everybody have their ones or twos in? Okay. All right. Here we go, you guys. Okay. So the first winner of the mystery gift card is Cecilia Majowski. I hope I said that right. I'll say Cecilia M. So congratulations. And I'm going to go for number 2. And then we can chat for a few minutes, hopefully. Okay, number 2 is Liz. You're using your voodoo again. Number 2 is Liz D. All right, so for the congratulations, Liz. So for the 2 of you that won the 2 mystery gift card, or the 1 mystery gift card each, please be sure to send your address that you would like your gift card sent to. Next week, I'll be mailing them out on either Monday or Tuesday. And I will need for the addresses to go to virgotriad@protonmail.com. virgotriad@protonmail.com, and just put the heading at the top as gift card. Okay, so that way I can make sure that I can get those out to you guys. So congratulations, Liz. All right. Pete, it is not a fix. You're constantly saying that every live stream. Well, now you have, Liz. All right, let's see. Let's go through some of the chat. And okay, I got a letter from my state. I wasn't wearing my glasses when I read it, and I thought they said I. Everybody read that. That's funny. Wonder Woman, was it a conspiracy when you won? I don't even know what you're talking about. I just thought I'd give you a hard time. Ooh, hold on a second. Shout out to the troops. Yes. Cecilia, if I can choose, are you willing to send Maisie instead? I'm sorry, I can't afford the shipping on Maisie. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Maisie is going to be 9 months old on the 26th. Maisie is already 120 pounds. And by the time she's full grown, she'll be close to 200 pounds. So this is the reason why Maisie is not on the. No, you want to take my baby? No, but I'll share her with you every time I upload a video or pictures of them. How's that sound? Okay. Pete, I don't know what the heck's going on. The notifications are not going out like they're supposed to. And unfortunately, there doesn't appear to be anybody actually at the offices of YouTube currently. So it isn't even something that I can try to have fixed. Now, I've sent out a couple of emails, but they're so overwhelmed. It doesn't seem like they're getting back to people right now. I think it's one of the things we're going to be dealing with while they're on a skeleton crew. I don't know why the problem continues, but that would be my assumption. Oh, yes, I know. The whole lemon eating thing. Yeah. So you're not supposed to wear masks or try to separate yourself from people, but according to the very educated, knowledgeable, and someone who claims to have common sense, April Lejeune, all you have to do is eat a half a lemon twice a day, you guys. I mean, my gosh, how dumb can everybody be? This woman, she just is unbelievable. Totally unbelievable. And yes, completely vile, Liz. That is exactly right. Hello, Chris. Asparagus is good. Yum. Look at this. Look, Liz finally wins something, and look at the hard time she's given me. I bet the card has a chip in it and will read my bowel movements and tell the government. She's my comedy, my stand-up comedian for this channel when we're doing live streams, and that's why whoever was giving you a hard time was ticking me off. Let's see. Oh, Noble L is now saying to drink turpentine. Wow. For full protection. That sounds, yeah, that sounds logical. I'm not a doctor, but I am a nurse. Yesterday, Light Bay once again said Moors are protected from the illness. Please let all friends and family know that this illness doesn't make exceptions by skin color. Yes, exactly. I did a video about that this week because I was very concerned also. Where is Raven? Is Raven in here? Raven, where are you? I want to say and give a shout out to Coco and Bobo. Coco and Bobo are absolutely adorable little birdies that Robin has and shares pictures. And some of you probably have seen them because they've been in links that are in the comment section. But Lil Man Maisie and Miss Morgana love to look at your birdies. They all love birds. They watch out the window like you wouldn't believe and love birds. Morgana actually has a little owl that has showed up here that is friends with her. So I just wanted to say hello. There you are. I just wanted to make sure that I said hello to you. So everybody, I don't know whether this is going to be something that happens right away or not, but Raven is actually looking at possibly becoming a watchdog. So I wanted to introduce Raven to everyone. And a lot of people, you probably already have seen Raven on my channel and many others, including Van and Degeneration Nation and Goobers that he's subscribed to. So everybody say hi. And we're going to be looking at helping him out, or I'm going to be looking at helping him out when he's ready. So I just wanted to make sure everybody had the opportunity to meet. All right, now that I've probably embarrassed you good, go away. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Wonder Woman, what have you got to say here? Is there anywhere that we can report the videos these scum are putting up with disinformation because it is dangerous? The problem is when we're dealing with stuff like this, other than reporting it directly to Google or YouTube, we're looking at state to state, country to country, and then of course, you know, where it's going from one state to another. So it really has to be on an individual basis. But one place you can report all of them to, you might not get a lot out of it though, because it isn't. The IC3 unit, which is the online FBI chapter of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, you can make a complaint, but unless you've been defrauded or you've been harassed or you've been sent, you know, something terrible or whatever, they don't really necessarily respond in the manner you would hope that they would. I think we're going to have to take this on a case-by-case basis, unfortunately. I'm thinking of, because the website is almost completely finished at this point in terms of everything except for the database, which is an ongoing project, as you guys know. I think we're going to have to actually put some form of a listing up so that I can take them all at once and maybe turn them over, you know, from the actual database. I haven't quite figured out what to do. You mean federally? Federally would be the IC3. It's the only thing that I'm aware of that they have set up at all to be able to make these sort of complaints. And yes, and that is exactly where, now with something that is massive, it would be, that would be it, the IC3. And when it gets a certain amount of complaints, but see, that's generally one website, one person, one entity, one company. And that, you know, when Barr got involved, it was one entity, not everybody that was pushing those tests. It's you're right, Van. It's difficult to police because it's something that it has to be taken on a an entity by entity basis. That's why I'm thinking of putting something together on the website that would allow people to turn what's going on in, where you can locate them. And then once there's enough in that one central location on my site, then we can take that grouping of grouping of complaints of the one website, individual, YouTube channel, whatever, and turn all of those in all at once. Does that make sense? You're going to get dandelions from my garden, or not my garden. That would be a feat, wouldn't it? Going to get dandelions from your garden soon. Okay. Dandelion salad time? Okay, Liz, put in the subject line. Oh, just put gift card. Just so that I know that it's, that's where I locate it, because I have a lot of emails that come through. I can't go a day without a threat. Okay. Raven says hello to everyone. Okay. I know I've missed some things, you guys. I'm sorry. So just to give you guys a real quick update with regards to what was going on last week and everything, I've had a lot of people ask, a lot of people email, so I'm just going to address it in one big chunk here. I am feeling somewhat better, but I am still a little bit off from where I normally would be health-wise in terms of my medication and stuff like that. But I am doing better. And soon I'll be able to work like normal without feeling ugh. But that's the reason why I'm not making as many videos as normal. I'm trying to do at least one, sometimes two a day. So just to let everybody know, I'm okay. Little man is okay, and Morgana's okay, and Maisie's okay. So don't worry. I'm doing okay. What is this all about with you today, Joe? What is it? What is it today? I don't understand what's going on with you today. You've got to do something, a hobby, anything while you're on this lockdown, because we seem to have a one-track mind today. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you know what, Wonder Woman, we'll talk about that. That is absolutely something that would be an awesome thing for you to yeah, with everything that we talked about with regards to the website, this would be something that would be pretty cool. So let me think about how we would set this up, and we'll talk about it. Let's see. Policy enforcer stole what? Policy enforcer stole Empress Ninjas. I know. It's just amazing to me how she keeps telling everybody that it works, but I haven't been able to find one court case that shows that she didn't pay to get her darn car out. I mean, what is going on? Oh, you guys, before we end this, I have to show you this. I'm sorry, Sock, but I have to do it. I just have to do it. So this is one of the most adorable things I've ever seen. Sock, checking on me, sent this to me. Look at that, you guys. Isn't that adorable? There's Sock. There is Sock. Just the most adorable thing. But Agent Sock is tough, don't get me wrong. All right. I just wanted everybody to be able to see. I really liked that. I appreciate that you sent that to me. It made me feel better. Okay. Have lots of dandelions in my yard too. I picked the leaves and put them in my salads. I've never had a dandelion salad, you guys. It must be good because everybody talks about them. Joe says he's had too much sleep. Well, at least you're catching up, though. See, Sock, everybody loved your little picture. Isn't Sock attractive? It does kind of look like the sock puppet from the old commercials, but that's Agent Sock. And Agent Sock is practicing social distancing, and Agent Sock is practicing wearing his mask. And I think that's wonderful. Vilified Freedom, hello, how are you? So I have been sharing a lot of VF's videos because he's been doing a fantastic job. And I understand that he's finally gotten his new computer set up. So I hope that's working out well for you. For those of you that are not subscribed to Vilified Freedom, please do it. It's right up what you guys, that's right up the alley that you guys enjoy off of Degen and Van and Scam Stingers. So please make sure you subscribe to Vilified Freedom. Not to mention the fact that he does a great job on his videos, but he's also a super sweet person. All right, let's see what else we got here. Virgo and Van, how did you guys get started being watchdogs? By total accident, wasn't it, Van? It was a total accident, for me anyway. I was completely on my own, and we just sort of found each other. That happens, though, in this type of community when, like-minded people that genuinely care about others and want to try to help other people will find one another and start working together. And I think I've been working with Van and Mr. Swindle Hoodwinked the longest, if I'm not mistaken. God, if I'm leaving somebody out, I'm going to feel terrible. And then I think it was Artie that was next. And Dozek is another one that was back at the beginning. And for a while, other watchdogs were just subscribers to us. And then it turned into something where we were, able to help get them started, like Chuck chases the facts. So it's very interesting, but the community's gotten much larger than when Van started before I did. And I believe before him was Talisman's World, which is also a wonderful individual, but does not have a channel up currently that I'm aware of. Am I right, Van? Are you still here? Am I remembering correctly? Okay, what do we got here? Let's see. VF Beard is a cross between Duck Dynasty and ZZ Top. I have to agree. I have to agree. But it looks pretty good on him. I like it. I don't usually like beards, but I think it looks pretty good on him. Yeah, right, Joe. We meet once a year in Maine. I don't think so. Oh. Okay, well, we are at damn near an hour and 25 minutes. So I guess what I'm going to have to do is cut this off because we are getting into, a time frame that is much further past what my live streams normally are. And on the replay, I hate for people to have to try to make it through everything that's just a personal conversation between, the chat and myself. So what I'm going to do is leave the chat up for about 3 to 4 more minutes so that everybody can say goodbye and talk amongst yourself. I will be on chat from this point forward, and I appreciate everybody showing up. Thank you so much for everyone support. And I have to mention, just because I said I would, for those of you that are able to, do not feel obligated to, but for those of you that are able to, please take a look at my Patreon account, which is at www.patreon.com/VirgoTriad1. If you need to email me for any reason, my email is at virgotriad@protonmail.com. All right. I hope everybody has a wonderful afternoon. And please, everyone, wash your hands often. Stay safe. I love everybody. And I'll see you in the chat in just a second.